Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Good to be here.
Today, we're plunging into a market that, well, it might surprise you with its sheer scale and projected growth. We're talking about the global isotonic drinks market.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this fantastic source, global isotonic drinks market. Growth projections 2021-2033. It's from Cognitive Market Research.
Right.
And we're going to cut through all those numbers, really extract the most important insights for you.
Yeah, get to the core of it.
Exactly. Our mission, give you a shortcut, basically, to understanding this market's trajectory, what makes it tick, without getting totally lost in the weeds. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is, the sheer breadth of the source material. It gives us this really detailed projection. Growth across loads of regions, countries, all the way from 2021 up to 2033. And it focuses hard on that compound annual growth rate, the CAGR.
Okay.
And just to set the stage, the global market size, back in 2021, it was already $13.67 billion.
At $13.67 billion. Wow.
And the projection. It's expected to hit $25.22 billion by 2033.
Okay, that's more than a doubling in, what, 12 years?
Pretty much. Significant growth.
So looking at that overall global picture then, we've got the $13.67 billion in 2021. The source shows it hitting $16.76 billion by 2025. And then, like you said, rocketing to that $25.22 billion by 2033.
That's the trajectory.
Which translates to a global CAG of 5.24%. So steady global growth. But here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. How does this actually break down when we zoom in?
Yeah.
At the regions.
Right.
Are some areas pulling more weight, maybe growing much faster than others?
Exactly. That global number is solid, sustained growth. But yeah, there are definite regional leaders and really fascinating differences in pace.
Okay.
So take North America. It was the clear market leader back in 2021, generated a huge $5.4 billion.
$5.4 billion. Just North America.
Just North America. And even though it's, a mature market, it's projected to keep climbing, reaching $6.47 billion in 2025. And then $9.36 billion by 2033. That gives it a CAGR of 4.72%.
So still growing at nearly 5% a year. That's pretty solid for a leader.
It is. It tells us the demand there, well, it isn't really slowing down significantly.
Right. So North America is the powerhouse, kind of the bedrock. Let's dig a bit deeper there. Within North America, the U.S. market must be massive then.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. alone was $3.76 billion in 2021.
3.76. So the bulk of that $5.4 billion.
Exactly. And it's projected to reach $4.44 billion in 2025 and then $6.22 billion by 2033. Still a huge piece of the global pie.
Okay. And it's CAGR.
The U.S. is at 4.31%. Solid, steady demand.
Okay.
But like you were asking, if we look at growth rates within North America, things get interesting.
Oh, okay.
Because while the U.S. is steady at 4.31%, both Canada and Mexico, they're showing, more dynamic expansion.
Faster growth.
Yeah. Canada, for instance, it started at $1.24 billion in 21. It's projected to hit $2.27 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 5.22%.
5.22. Okay. Noticeably higher than the U.S.
Definitely. And then there's Mexico. The source calls its growth robust.
Robust. Okay. Sounds promising.
It really is. Started smaller, $404.87 million in 21, but it's expected to more than double, reaching $860.97 million by 2033.
Wow. And the CAGR there must be
even higher, 6.57%.
6.57. Okay, that's really standout growth.
It is. It suggests, maybe a rapidly emerging consumer base, maybe new health trends catching on, or just better access to these drinks.
That Mexico number definitely jumps out. So it makes you wonder, do we see similar pockets of really high growth in other established regions? Let's hop over to Europe.
Sure.
The European market overall, $2.69 billion in 2021. Projected to reach, what, $4.69 billion by 2033?
That's right, $4.69 billion. And the overall CAGR for Europe is 4.76%. Pretty close to North America's rate, actually.
Okay, 4.76%. So how does that break down inside Europe? Any surprises there, like we saw with Mexico?
Well, Europe is it's diverse. You've got the big established markets, the UK, Germany, France.
What?
They show pretty steady foundational growth, in the 4 to 4.4% CAGR range. The UK, for example, was $550.3 million in 21, heading towards $905.5 million. That's 4.29% CAGR.
Okay.
Germany is very similar, $549.2 million, up to $914.9 million. That's 4.36% CAGR.
So very consistent there.
Very. France, a little slower, 4.04% CAGR, going from $360.8 million to $581.8 million. Italy's a bit faster, actually. $280 million in 21, projected to $483.3 million. That's 4.63% CAGR.
Okay, so Italy's got a bit more momentum than the big three there.
A little bit, yeah. But if we connect this back to the bigger picture, like where's the real acceleration happening? Similar to North America, it seems to be in other parts of Europe.
Okay, whereabouts?
Well, Eastern Europe, for one.
Yeah,
Russia,
right.
for example. It's going at 5.3% CAGR, going from about $124 million to nearly $230 million.
5.3%.
Okay.
Okay, definitely picking up pace.
It's 0.13, so another Mexico-like story almost.
Oh.
Pretty much. Its market's projected to double, too. From $234 million to $474 million, roughly. Denmark's also strong, 5.66% CAGR.
Interesting. So Southern and Eastern Europe showing more dynamic growth.
Generally, yes.
Okay.
But then you have contrast, right? Like Luxembourg, much more modest growth, only 1.64% CAGR, going from about $40 million to $51 million.
Okay, so not everywhere is booming.
Exactly. It's a good reminder. And then, maybe the most surprising bit, the category called Rest of Europe.
Rest of Europe, what does that cover?
It lumps together a bunch of the smaller economies, but as a group, it grew significantly, started at $128 million in 21, projected to hit $323 million.
Okay, and the CAGR?
A very high 7.82%.
Wow, 7.82. So that collection of smaller markets is actually the fastest growing part of Europe.
Seems that way. It really highlights how dynamic demand can be across the continent, even outside the traditional powerhouses.
That's fascinating. Okay, so let's shift gears again. Let's turn to Asia Pacific. The source calls this a region with strong growth. The numbers look big. $3.84 billion in 2021. Projected to reach, wow, $7.84 billion by 2033.
Almost $8 billion.
And the CAGR reflects that, right? 6.12%. Higher than North America or Europe overall.
Absolutely. Asia-Pacific is a major, major growth engine for this market.
So what's driving that? Which countries are the key players there?
Well, no surprise, China is leading the charge. It's the giant in the region.
Okay.
China started out $1.45 billion in 2021. It's projected to more than double to $3.23 billion by 2033.
3.23 billion, and the growth rate?
A powerful 6.81% CAGR.
6.81. Okay, huge market, still growing fast.
Exactly. And then there's India, often called the sleeping giant, right?
Right. Is it waking up in this market?
It absolutely is. The source flags its rapid growth. India shows a really high 7.88% CAGR.
7.88%. That's one of the highest we've seen.
It is. Its market is also on track to more than double, from about $411 million in 21 to over $1 billion, $1.02 billion by 2033.
Over $1 billion just in India.
Yeah. And, I mean, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer population in China and India, plus rising incomes, it's creating massive new consumer demand for drinks like these. They are undeniable forces.
Makes total sense. Huge populations, growing economies. Any others to mention in APAC?
Yes. South Korea also shows strong growth, about $472 million growing to $941 million. That's a 5.9% CAGR.
Okay.
And Australia is expanding steadily, too, about $211 million up to $376 million. That's a 4.81% CAGR. Solid, like the established Western markets.
Right. So incredible numbers from China and India really driving that high regional average. Okay, shifting continents again. South America.
Yep.
Market there valued at $751.65 million in 2021. Growing to $1.44 billion by 2033, that comes out to a 5.47% CAGR overall for the region.
Solid growth there, too.
So who's driving that growth down south? Similar patterns, big leader and some faster growers.
Pretty much exactly that pattern, actually. Brazil is dominant in South America.
Okay.
It started at $344 million in 21, projected to reach $645 million. That's a 5.27% CAGR. So it's the foundational market there.
Right, makes sense. But you said similar patterns, so is there a faster grower?
Yes,
No.
Colombia. The data shows an impressive, faster pace of growth there.
Impressive, okay. Numbers.
It's projected to more than double. Started smaller, $64.6 million in 21. Expected to hit $146.66 million by 2033.
Okay, and the CAGR?
A very robust 6.99%.
Almost 7%, so another hot spot.
Exactly. It really highlights that pattern again. Established markets provide volume, but these smaller, often faster-growing economies, that's where you see the really significant percentage gains.
Got it. Okay, nearly done with our world tour. Let's look at the Middle East.
All right.
Expanding from $560 million in 2021 to $1.11 billion in 2033. That's growing at 5.85% CAGR. Pretty healthy.
Real, yeah.
Any country leading the charge there.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia led the region according to the source. It had a strong 6.53% CAGR.
6.53.
Okay. Its market is also set to more than double, from about $209 million to $449 million.
Interesting. Suggests maybe growing health awareness or just disposable income there.
Could be a mix of factors, yeah. Rising wellness trends, perhaps.
Okay. And finally, let's round this out with Africa.
Okay.
The market there is projected to nearly double as well, increasing from $423 million in 2021 to $782 million, roughly, by 2033. The CGR is 4.82%.
So similar overall growth rate to, say, North America or Europe.
Yeah, interesting. Any standouts within Africa?
Well, Nigeria showed the highest regional CGR. It came in at 5.28%.
5.28%.
Moving from about $105 million to $205 million by 2033.
Okay, so while the overall CAGR is solid, Nigeria is pushing slightly ahead.
Yeah, and you have to think, given Africa's huge and, rapidly growing population, even these initial growth rates suggest there's just immense untapped potential there. As economies develop, consumer habits change. This could be a huge market down the line.
Absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
That was a whirlwind tour. So bringing it all together,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well,
What we're seeing is, it's not just consistent, robust global growth for these isotonic drinks. It's this really fascinating mosaic, right, of regional dynamics.
that's a good way to put it.
A mosaic.
Yeah, like North America is the biggest right now,
Right.
holds a huge chunk. But then you've got these real hotbeds of accelerated expansion. Places like India, Mexico, Spain, Colombia.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget that rest of Europe category, too.
Right. And the rest of Europe. These seem to be the markets that are really, truly exploding with new consumers coming in.
Precisely.
Mhm.
And these detailed projections, they really highlight a strong, sustained global demand. It's not just a blip.
Yeah.
It's projected well into the next decade.
Yeah.
And the fact that we see this consistent growth across such diverse economies,
Yeah.
it really underscores a fundamental shift, I think, towards these types of drinks, maybe driven by fitness culture, general wellness trends, maybe just better availability.
A combination of things, probably. Probably. But the demand is clearly there and growing globally.
Well, thank you for joining us on this pretty deep dive into the isotonic drinks market. We really hope you've gained a clearer, quicker, and maybe more insightful understanding of where this industry is heading.
Yeah, I hope it was useful. And maybe, as you consider all these numbers, these different growth paths, here's a thought to mull over.
Okay.
Given where the really big accelerations are happening in India, Mexico, Colombia, parts of Europe, how might companies innovate, in the next few years? Will they create specific products for those markets, change how they distribute things?
Good question. Tailoring strategies.
Exactly. And maybe think about what you believe is truly driving such consistent demand across such different economies, different cultures. What's the underlying current here? Something to chew on. Okay, picture this. You've just really pushed yourself. Maybe it was a run, hitting a new personal best, or, I don't know, a really tough hike. Could even be after hours of intense gaming. You're wiped out. What's the first thing you instinctively reach for? Something beyond just plain water to really help you recover.
Well, today we're diving deep into something that's, become a go-to for so many people. The global isotonic drinks market. It's incredibly dynamic. Our mission really is to unpack what's driving its growth, maybe some surprising challenges it's facing, and the really exciting trends shaping this whole area of consumer goods.
Right.
We're basing this on some pretty comprehensive recent market research and insights, trying to give you the full picture of these, hydration powerhouses.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think, is how this market is sort of a microcosm of bigger shifts happening. You've got this convergence of wellness trends, rapid innovation, and this huge consumer demand for, personalization. It's all playing out right here.
Right. So let's get into it. What's really fueling this isotonic boom? You mentioned health awareness. Exactly. That's the foundation. There's just this undeniable global rise in people focusing on health and fitness. It's not just a vague idea anymore. People are actively, doing things.
And you see that translating directly into like more people in sports, hitting the gym, getting outdoors. Even you mentioned things like esports, which is fascinating.
Absolutely.
And all that activity creates this huge, almost constant need for really effective hydration, right?
Precisely.
Mhm.
And that's where isotonic drinks really shine. Their specific formulation, it allows for rapid absorption. They don't mess with your cell's water balance, essentially. So they're super efficient at boosting performance and really speeding up that post-activity recovery because they nail the electrolyte replenishment.
Okay, so they hit that sweet spot for hydration.
They do. And connecting that to the bigger picture, it's absolutely tied into the massive growth we're seeing in the whole energy and sports nutrition sector. Plus, there's the economic factor. Rising disposable incomes, especially in emerging markets, mean more people can actually buy these specialized drinks.
That makes sense.
And another thing our research highlights is the power of influence. Think fitness influencers, athletes, even pro gamers endorsing these drinks.
Yeah.
That's pushed them beyond just elite athletes. Now you see casual exercisers, people just wanting better focus, bringing isotonic drinks into their routines.
So it's broadened the user base significantly.
Massively.
And the brands themselves, they're not just sitting back, are they? Innovation seems critical. What are you seeing there? Like, what are they actually doing to the drinks?
Oh, definitely not sitting back. They're constantly tweaking, enhancing their products with what we call functional ingredients.
Yeah.
So beyond the basic electrolytes, think adding things like B vitamins for energy or magnesium, which is crucial for muscle function, preventing cramps.
Oh, okay. So adding extra benefits.
Exactly. And a huge trend, almost revolutionary, is the move away from sugar. They're using natural sweeteners, stevia, monk fruit, to cut that sugar content way down.
Okay.
This directly taps into that demand for clean label products. People want fewer, simpler ingredients they actually recognize. That really appeals to the health-conscious crowd.
Right. The clean label thing is huge everywhere, but okay, it can't all be smooth sailing. What are some of the roadblocks, the challenges this market faces? I imagine that sugar issue, even with the alternatives, is still a big one.
You nailed it. That's probably the biggest red flag. The high sugar in many traditional isotonic drinks is still a major concern, linking back to worries about obesity, diabetes. And these aren't just abstract concerns. They lead to real-world actions, like governments stepping in with sugar taxes in quite a few places. That directly bumps up production costs for manufacturers, and, that often gets passed on to the consumer.
So regulation is a factor. And what about just choice? It feels like there are tons of drinks promising hydration now. Does that competition hurt?
Absolutely. The pressure is intense. You've got a whole range of alternatives popping up. Think plant-based electrolyte drinks, coconut water becoming super popular, all sorts of enhanced waters.
Right. Lots of options.
Which is great for us as consumers. But for the companies, it means a really crowded market. They constantly have to fight to stand out. And here's a funny thing the research showed. Despite all the health talk and alternatives, those traditional sugary isotonic drinks, sales haven't just tanked everywhere.
Really? Why not?
Well, in some places, brand loyalty is incredibly strong. Or maybe consumers are just prioritizing that perceived quick energy burst over long-term health impacts. It's complex. Consumer psychology,
That is interesting. A bit of a disconnect there. What about in markets where maybe that whole sports and fitness culture isn't quite as established yet?
Yeah, that's another key challenge, particularly in emerging markets. Often, there's just less consumer awareness about what these drinks actually do. This leads to a lot of confusion, people mixing up isotonic drinks, which for balanced hydration, with energy drinks, which are mostly about caffeine.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, and that confusion really holds back wider adoption. It slows down market growth because people don't fully grasp the specific benefits of isotonic drinks if they think it's just another sugary energy drink.
Okay, so challenges around sugar, competition, and consumer understanding. Let's flip that now. Let's look forward. What are the really exciting trends that are shaping the future here? That move towards healthier options seems like a big one, but maybe there's more to it.
Oh, definitely. It's more than just sugar-free. It's about precision, about catering to specific needs. Brands are really listening to wellness-focused consumers. They're launching drinks with those natural alternatives we mentioned, stevia, monk fruit, maybe even exploring things like allulose. And this is crucial because it opens the door for groups who might have avoided these drinks before. People following keto diets, diabetics, anyone watching their weight closely. It makes performance hydration more accessible.
Inclusivity, in a way, makes sense. And what about the planet? Sustainability is everywhere now. How's that hitting the isotonic market?
It's absolutely central. It's not just a nice to have anymore, it's pretty much essential. So companies are actively shifting to eco-friendly packaging. We're seeing biodegradable materials, fully recyclable bottles, even experiments with refillable systems. And what's really telling from the data is that these sustainable features, they're not just behind-the-scenes changes. They're often front and center in marketing. It really resonates with consumers who care about the environment, and it can be a powerful driver of brand choice and loyalty.
Right, using sustainability as a selling point. Now, here's something that feels very cutting edge, this idea of personalized and portable hydration. We're seeing these like single-serving powdered isotonic drink packets everywhere. What's the big advantage there for the user?
Yeah, those powders are taking off. The advantages are pretty clear. Convenience is huge, obviously, but it's also about adaptability and customization like never before.
Oh, so?
Well, you can easily adjust the amount of powder, right?
Yeah.
So you can tweak your electrolyte levels based on how intense your workout was,
Mm-hmm.
or just your own preference that day.
So you control the concentration.
Exactly. It really sets a new standard. It moves hydration from being this kind of one-size-fits-all thing to a truly user-focused performance tool,
Mm-hmm.
tailored to your needs.
That's a pretty significant shift.
It really is. So wrapping up this deep dive, I think what's crystal clear is that the global isotonic drinks market is just incredibly dynamic. It's this fascinating intersection where you see wellness trends, cool tech innovation, and that powerful consumer push for personalization all coming together. It's really redefining what we drink after we exert ourselves and why.
Yeah, it really does feel like a great example of those bigger shifts happening right across consumer goods, doesn't it? That focus on health, definitely, but also environmental responsibility, and increasingly meeting very specific individual needs. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about how these principles we've talked about, customization, sustainability, how
Yep.
they're transforming something like isotonic drinks. Where else might you see these same forces reshaping other everyday products in your own life? Maybe sooner than you think.